There you go, Goosey. Say hi. How do? Just a quick bit on the beginning of the video. Vlog with Steve and myself to follow. Right. Being a prison officer, being a police officer, at some point it is a contact stroke combat sport. Yeah. If you're going into that job thinking you never have no contact, you're never going to be involved in anything, you're going into the wrong job. What you need right now in prisons is teamwork. What is happening is adrenaline. Yeah, adrenaline. We haven't talked about adrenaline. Adrenaline, fight or flight. So you either fight, join your mates, or you're off. There is another one. Somebody pointed out to me, stop nudging the camera, Goose. Come on. Somebody else pointed something out. There's also freeze. So you're off, you stand there, you freeze, you don't get involved, or you're on floor scrapping. Yeah, it's combat sport. Prison now, it's becoming dangerous for them that are getting involved in stuff because people are standing around or freezing or getting out of the road. Police is going to be the same. Yeah, you need to stand up and be counted. End of the day, if we are going to get continued through the winter rioting, let's call it rioting on the streets, that's what it is, mayhem, whatever it is, then police are going to be out there in the full riot gear, and you need teamwork. You've got to be in it to win it. You've got to support your mates. Adrenaline, fight or flight or freeze. I'll tell you what the prison service needs as well, and the police, good leadership. I'm going to leave it there and into the vlog. I'm going to talk about use of force today in UK prisons and how it pertains to the police force and the problems they're going to be facing over the coming months in the Midlands, because it's not only kicking off in Leicester, UK now, ethnic minorities, different religions battling with each other. It's also kicking off in Birmingham, and it's only going to spread and get worse. Stevie, walk this way. I love coming through here in the winter, bit of snow on the ground. So use of force. What is use of force? First of all, prison service instructions, prison service orders. The police will have the same whole list of documents. You can see them online, go on the internet, pertaining to hands-on using force on people. That's anything from getting kitted up, de-escalating a situation, getting someone to maybe walk to the segregation, to hands-on and restraining someone, right? And I'm going to talk about it through my experience. Firstly, yep, there are prison officers who were dogs and probably still still the odd one now, who used to beat people, bullies. Talking to lads who I used to lock up and ex-staff, same people used to do bullying. Know your audience. Anyway, we're not here to talk about them. Lots and lots of good people I work with. So your training. I did my training in the private sector. Gaz and Andy Mack. Great delivery. Ooh, another technical itch there, guys. Great delivery. And in the public sector at Strangeways, Mick, equally great delivery. The training is only as good as the people receiving that training and the people giving that training. So your CNR, your control and restraint, is a week. It's not necessarily a continuous week. Could be broke up. 5 days, 8 hours a day, 40 hours. You start by learning locks, wrist locks, arm locks, restraining people stood on the feet. Then you learn how to take these people to the floor safely, hopefully, and everything else in between. Once on the floor, there is rest positions, there is positions and locks for putting them in cuffs, there is locks for standing them on their feet in order to move them. Most prisoners, once under restraint, will be cuffed in order to move them safely. That's for your safety and theirs. We have a new bench. We're gonna have a little sit down to the segregation unit. So I did my training when I did it at Strangeways, which is a public sector prison. Your CNR, control and restraint week, is a pass or fail. At the end of the week, you do a series of exercises. You will go in a cell. You will be given different scenarios, as real as possible. You might end up fighting, restraining somebody in order to give you an idea. It is a pass or fail. You will do it in full kit, and it's quite challenging. On my course, I think there's 24 people there or thereabouts. 3 failed their CNR and went on to be prison officers. 2 of those were in the job 12 months. Both of them did 9 months on the sick and 3 months in the job, causing problems. It happens everywhere. We don't always get right people for the job, and you're not going to get the right people for the job every time right now. So I remember in the private sector, about 2001, seeing my first restraint. It was movement to labour. That's when prisoners are left off wings to go to work. About 8 staff on the floor with a prisoner. It looked extremely violent. There was a lot of screaming and shouting. To witness it, it was, I'm going to say shocking. It was shocking. Through experience later on, you realise that a lot of it, with the right people, is controlled, and it is done in a manner that is both safe for the prisoners and yourself. The first person I ended up restraining was a young offender. I remember him. I remember his name. Situations that police will face on the out, they are difficult. It was a one-to-one. I'm on a landing. This lad is kicking off with me. I believed he was going to assault me. There was nobody around. There were other prisoners out. You have to make a decision. I ended up taking him to the floor. Somebody pressed an alarm bell. He was restrained and taken to the seg. That lad did come back to the wing. We got on with each other. We had a good working relationship, dynamic security. He went on to be the prison barber. He was good at haircuts, not just the old prison straight off, although he probably did distribute drugs around the prison. I'm not that naive. He was a good lad. He weren't in for a serious offence. He was having an off day. I understand that. I'll give you a couple of other examples that might not be catered for. Let's talk about minimum use of force and appropriate. So you are supposed to use minimum use of force. Yeah, so if you can talk someone back into the cell, that would be minimum use of force. If you need to put a hand on their chest and put them back in a cell, that isn't excessive. It requires you to fill paperwork in though. There is also a preemptive strike. Preemptive strike basically means, you fear for your life, fear for your safety, fear for someone else's safety, be it prisoner or staff. You can punch someone before they punch you. I never come across one of them. I never took a preemptive strike. I would be worried about the consequences. Most prisons areas now are cameraed up. On camera, you're stood with someone, you punch them in the face, there's no sound. Paperwork with control and restraint, I always took time over my paperwork. I used to print, not the best at writing, but I would take time. You need to say, this prisoner was in front of me, threatening to punch me, said he was going to stab me, I feared for my life. You have to paint a picture. Some staff, their own worst enemies, Prisoner on camera, you punch him, paperwork, I punched the prisoner and he was restrained. It's not good enough. I'll give you another example. There was a lad in the segregation unit in the private sector. There was me and my senior officer. There was only us 2 on shift. This lad was stood in front of my senior officer. We were letting him out to get hot water. He got 2 cups of hot water. He was in front of my senior officer. My senior officer definitely believed he was going to be assaulted, and so did I. There was heated words. It wasn't focused on me. I was stood off to the side. You have to make a decision. Yeah, I decided that he was going to assault him. He was going to chuck the hot water in my senior officer's face. I swept his legs from under him. Yeah, literally swept him. Boom, down he went. he got burnt, that lad. He didn't need hospital treatment. A nurse come on, put some cooling gel on or whatever. We filled the paperwork in. That went to the police, not for him being restrained and with the hot water, for me assaulting him. You know, he got his solicitor involved, said I deliberately burnt him with hot water. This is what you face, yeah? When I look at it now, again, in prison, I was involved in a lot of restraints. There are people who will get involved and there are people who won't, people who take a back seat. This will be like the police. If it comes to police having to go from other forces to the Midlands because they're running out of staff through injury and the like, you'll be alongside people you don't know. There's people who make up numbers. Quite definitely. There was people who made up numbers in the prison service and there's people who make up numbers in the police service. Yeah. My training, I think it was quite proficient. I did the job best I could. I worked with some very good people, but lots of people weren't interested. Tornado training. I did my tornado training. That's Riot training. Again, some of the nationals took that training. Nationals are like the SAS, US Army Rangers of the prison service. They are prison officers who teach control and restraint to control and restraint instructors. They train 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, something like that. They are incredibly fit. They are trained to work at height. They work with all sorts of pyrotechnics, cell extraction. You know, quite often they will turn up to a prison if you've got a hostage situation, something like that, in an advisory role. So I went off to Doncaster. It was a residential. I went with 3 lads from Strangeways. We were all up for it. You know, we wanted to do it. We enjoyed our time away. A few bevies at night. You were away from the prison. Lots of staff on that training from other prisons didn't want to be there. They were sent. They were forced to go. We volunteered. The training was hard. When I say it was hard for us. We got stuck in and made the most of it. Again, probably 75% of the officers who were there doing the training took a back seat. You could have gone there and done nothing all week. No hands-on, no removing barricades, no running about, you know, no bruises, no nothing. The police will be exactly the same. The training was really good. You were trained to use shields, information, going to cells, extraction, all these sorts of things. It was worthwhile. It gave you confidence. For me, every prison officer should do that training. Like I say, lots don't want to do it, but it would, for me, if they were made to do it, give them confidence. It also sort the men out from the boys, or the girls out from the chicks, the women, whatever you want to say. You know what I'm saying about this, but again, you can't pick and choose your staff. So use of force. Like I say, all prisons are cameraed up. Planned removals, right? This spontaneous use of force. That'll be an incident, literally just happens. You're on a landing, someone's kicking off, they get restrained. A planned removal, hostage negotiation, hostage situation, somebody barricaded in a cell, you will be getting kitted up. There will be people supervising, there will be cameras. Again, for your safety and the prisoner's safety. So the police on the streets, yeah, I watched a couple of videos, they're not on mainstream media, but they are on some social media. Last night, there was one copper, there was coppers all around, there was skirmishes and fighting, yeah. There was 3 lads knocking the shit out of somebody. You didn't see the guy who were knocking the shit out, or woman, on the floor, but there were 3 lads. This copper dragged them off, yeah. They're still intent on harming this person. The copper's dragging them off. There were other coppers in the background not doing anything. For me, all 3 bang to rights. If they've got the cameras on, yeah, bang to rights, assaulting someone, get them in a van, get them locked up. It's not going to happen. You know, they are making arrests, but people are getting injured. How long is it going to carry on? And what if it spreads to the rest of the country? Which it's going to do. I'm just going to leave it there. Like I said, difficult job, difficult for the police. Now, any incident on the street, public, all get the phones out. Yeah? There'll be people there trying to do a good job, know what they're doing. There'll be others that are making numbers up. Tough gig. Stephen, come here, kid. Parting shot as always, who support the channel. Welcome, new subscribers. Thanks for coming. Good lad. Beautiful up here, guys. I'll see you there.